Donald Trump is giving Republicans fits, and I'm not talking just about Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio. Republican National Committee is privately trying to figure out ways to tamp down the Donald's inflammatory rhetoric. The RNC's chief strategist, Sean Spicer, explained to Politico why the Donald needs the party, or why he hopes it does, which means he might have to listen to the party. Spicer says, quote, every nominee understands that the role of parties is critical in terms of the manpower, the data, the press operation, the research. The bottom line is no nominee can win without the party. The politics are complicated, so are the policy differences between Trump and the GOP brass. If Trump takes the nomination, he'd be the first Republican in more than a generation who's at odds with the party platform on a whole range of issues. He's all over the place on health care, but he's clearly far left of the guys on the right and most of the Republican Party. It doesn't stop there. GOP wants to rein in entitlement spending. The Donald doesn't. The GOP wants to defund Planned Parenthood. The Donald has praised the place. The party is for more free trade. The Donald isn't, especially when the trading partner is China. And we could go on and on with a list of other policy differences between Trump and the rest of the party. Let me start with the first part of this, Bill, which is the GOP thinks that it can rein in Trump. Really?
Yeah, I don't think so. In fact, I have a column coming out in Newsday tomorrow about this exact same thing. If the party's in a really, really tough spot. If it embraces Donald Trump, it owns Donald Trump. And Donald Trump will forever change the brand of this party. I don't know what the party does. But, in a few weeks, we're all going to be getting people like me getting the bump on the shoulder, on the elbow, saying it's time to rally around the front runners, time to rally around Trump. A lot of us aren't going to do it because he'll change the party forever.
This shows that the phony baloney notion that America was moving to the right isn't true. The Democratic Party is, if anything, visibly moving to the left on Hillary, and the most popular person in the Republican primaries is the most liberal. Say you what to that, sir?
I don't think it's a right-left thing. My objections with Trump is his mouth. My objection to Trump is that he says that a war hero is a loser for getting shot down, that he says he's going to torture the families of...
That's not my point. My point is that if the Republican Party electorate was as right-wing as the Republican Party congressional delegation...
Are you saying that liberals are putting Trump into the nomination?
I'm saying within the
they don't look like liberals to me.
Within the spectrum of the Republican Party, it is the moderate to left wing of the Republican Party that's embracing Trump.
Or is it just angry voters who don't care about his policies?
It's angry voters. It's the free-floating range out in America right now where people want to flip over the table.
So anger is more important than ideology?
Anger is more important this year than ideology.
For these voters,
and it's going to spread.
Then you make my point.
And be careful on the Democratic side because this guy is dangerous.
Bernie is dangerous?
No,
Andrew,
Trump is dangerous.
I don't even know why the party would do that type of interview with Politico and make those type. They have no control over Donald Trump. You think Donald Trump is going to listen to anything that the RNC has to say? Trump is going to say this: it's my way or the highway. You can let the door hit you on the way out. That's going to be his mentality. And every 4 years, I don't know why we have this conversation. The media, meaning all of us. We have this conversation about party platform. It's a joke. The party platform rarely represents what the candidate represents. And in this case, you can't even put up a party platform for Trump.
We're starting to see, we saw yesterday 2 members of Congress actually endorse Trump, his first 2 elected official endorsements or congressional level endorsements. You think we see more of that in the coming weeks?
Yes.
Why?
Yes,
is it just trying to get on the bandwagon?
Because everybody loves a winner. And that's why, the electorate on this issue and that issue. No. What it comes down to is Trump is perceived as a winner. And people want to be aligned with the winner. So if they don't agree with him on issue X or issue Y, they will adapt or just agree to disagree. Whether it's right or not, he's perceived as a winner. I told you guys on day 1 that he had a great shot at the nomination. I'm upping the ante. He has a great shot, and it scares me to death. He has a great shot at being your next president of the United States of America.
Let's assume he is the Republican nominee, Richard. For months, I think a lot of Democrats have been saying, well, that's fantastic. That opens the door to Democrats winning the Senate, maybe even winning the House. What is the impact that Donald Trump has on down-ticket Republicans?
Absolutely unknowable at this stage. It's absolutely unknowable. Keep one thing in mind. He's one major mistake away from dissolving like the Wicked Witch of the West.
Aren't we all? I mean, because how many mistakes? It depends on the size and scope of your mistake. But how many quote-unquote mistakes has Donald Trump made so far, and nothing seems to have hurt him? You don't think attacking John McCain was a mistake?
Apparently not.
It wasn't a mistake.
And look, the closest he came that I thought was a mistake was attacking the Pope.
Right.
So I mean,
he was going into the South though. The Pope's not winning popularity contests in the South.
Something Trump has managed to portray himself as authentic. What ruins Trump is something in his record, in his past, some statement, some faux pas, in which his authenticity vanishes. That, who knows what that will be.
Do you agree with that? It's all about his authenticity?
I don't. Maybe, but he changes his mind every few minutes, and people seem to go with it. It's the cockiness, it's the follow me, it's,
Bill. For years you told the voters that we needed a Washington outside.
I think it's a little bit of the monster that Barack Obama created also, frankly.
You're blaming, now this is new.
No, it's not new.
You're blaming Donald Trump on Barack Obama?
I think people are outraged at the direction that the country took, and they
Apparently
don't trust Republicans in office to do anything about it.
Well, Richard, if only Barack Obama had been born in the U.S., then Trump wouldn't have been able to make the whole thing about his birth certificate.
How did you manage to get the two guys against Trump, both to be born outside the United States?
Isn't it extraordinary? You know what's amazing though. But when you say like Trump doesn't make mistakes, I mean, Trump last week, and the Pope story kind of papered over it. Trump last week makes a statement that if he's elected president, we're really going to find out who did 9/11. We're really going to find out. It might be the Saudis. And it's like that's a guy who's going to be the commander in chief that's going to say something like that.
You don't think it could have been the Saudis?
Could be no, I don't think it's the Saudis. I think it was Al Qaeda.
Final question, and this is. This is a pet theory that I've been noodling around for a little bit, but as Trump gains in popularity and looks like he's better positioned to win the Republican nomination, does that impact the Democratic race at all? Does that give more freedom to Democrats to go for Bernie Sanders?
No, it scares.
Voice of anger versus voice of anger, or because Hillary's numbers aren't as good?
It means that you pick the one who's more likely to win. And Hillary's been winning that argument. It may be Bernie can turn that around.
You're really
I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but my concern, and I'm talking like I'm a Democrat now, but my concern is that Hillary Clinton doesn't drive out enough vote. There's no passion there. And she doesn't drive out enough numbers. Trump's voters have passion. If he gets the nomination, he's going to be hard to beat.
And so do Sanders. Trump, I mean, wouldn't that be fighting fire with fire?
I think Sanders will be out.
Trump will motivate Democratic voters.
Yes. The first time he's the nominee, let's be honest. As soon as he gets the nominee, the folder with all the women is going to drop. I'm sure it's already being circulated, right?
I don't think it hurts him.
Okay, well, it depends on what he's done with some of these women that we don't know about yet. But believe me, the folder is there. So that's going to drop, right? I mean, let's be honest.
He's got binders full of women.
Yeah, binders. Let's be, while he was married the entire time.
Mitt Romney had binders.
So now he's the nominee, right? So then the media is going to be a lot tougher on him because all of that nonsense about I'd like to punch him in the face, you can't say that as the Republican nominee.
Right. But apparently you can't.
No. You can say that now because I'm in a mood to be honest. So I'm going to be honest tonight. Normally I wouldn't say this. Why do you think he's doing so well? He's doing so well because he's coming after the first black president. And when he says, let's take our country back, that's code talk for we gave the black guy a shot. Look at the state of America. I've got to fix this.
Stick with dishonest.
Stick with dishonest?
Yes.
Last question for this segment. Richard, Donald Trump seems to be very good at finding a weakness or a controversy or something about his opponent and really hammering it. Right. Hillary has a lot of those things sticking out there. She's got a lot of targets for him to hit if he wants to. Any fear that Trump is entirely the wrong guy for Hillary to have to face in the general election?
Hillary will handle Trump with dignity.
In a way that nobody else has.
Bernie has wonderful...
But how do you handle Trump with dignity?
You don't. You talk as though he isn't in the room.
Yeah.
And you go right to the voter.
It's worth a shot.
Dominic, is Hillary the wrong opponent for Trump from a Democratic standpoint?
No, I don't know if there's somebody to handle a Trump. Look at what he did, Trump, to Bill Clinton. You thought Obama cut Bill Clinton off at the knees? Look at what Trump did to him.
Which is why I'm asking about Hillary.
And so the moment that Bill Clinton says, I'm going to go out there campaigning for my wife, Trump is going to go, let's talk about your women issue. And he did it effectively already.
Sounds like you're making my argument for me, or that you're on my side.
Well, yeah, but not Bernie Sanders. Forget that. The Democratic race is over. They already got their folders ready to go on Trump. It's going to be very interesting.
Phil, I'll give you the last bite at the apple. Is Trump the wrong Republican for Hillary to face?
I think he's the wrong Republican for Hillary to face. Yeah, I think he does, and I think
He's the
Trump,
only Republican with a shot. And he has a shot because he attracts Democrats and independents. People like Cruz and Rubio have no base outside the hard right wing.
I think Mark Rubio would win the presidency.
This sounds like a debate tonight that I'm going to want to tune in for. I am going to tune in for it tonight. All right, up next, the battle to replace Antonin Scalia on the Supreme Court has turned into a game of political cat and mouse. Will President Obama come up with a plan to trap the Republicans? That's next.